Okay, today we'll be talking about the Yugoslavia Wars. So, if you know anything about the Yugoslav Wars, then click off. You're not gonna like this. The Yugoslav Wars started in 1991 with the independence of Slovakia. Yugoslavia had long been a contentious region, and for the longest time, nobody had actually liked it. Yugoslavia, upon Tito's death in the 1960s, Yugoslavia would pretend that it wasn't true that they had. So yeah, unfortunately, by 1990, it didn't take much longer after 1990 into 1990 from the figure of Tito's dead. In 1991 began the Yugoslav Wars with the independence of Slovakia. Slovakia declared its independence in the very fittingly named 10-Day War, in which the Yugoslav army, this Federal Army of Yugoslavia, was sent in to deal with the apparently rebellious Slovaks. Of course, this didn't end well for Yugoslavia, and anyone familiar with Yugoslav history will know that the 10-Day War was a complete and utter devastation and embarrassment for the Yugoslavian army. Now, the more embarrassing, the better, right? Well, Yugoslavia didn't feel who did. Yugoslavia actually did plan another attack. It's just that they never ended up doing it because they realized that Slovakia wasn't actually, sorry Slovakians, but it wasn't very important to Yugoslavia. So they just kind of let it fall. So next are the actual wars that historians care about. Slovenia. The Yugoslav War, which are actually what technically many people think make up the Yugoslav Wars, the Croatian and Bosnian Wars of Independence. These wars are incredibly controversial. And I'd prefer not to get banned from YouTube for talking about all the things that happened. Basically, in 1992, Croatia and Bosnia declared their independence. You see, Croatia and Bosnia realized that they weren't getting a fair deal. Even though technically from the to an outsider it looked like a federal republic, in reality it was more of a federal dictatorship led by the Serbians. It was usually only the Serbians that actually got pleasures and, not the Croatian. A conference was held in the capital, Belgrade, in 1992. They argued, but the two republics of Bosnia and Croatia were determined for independence and declared that they would gang it no matter how many men would die in the process. The president of Serbia ordered an invasion. The invasion was terrible and atrocity-filled, with ethnic cleansing everywhere. The fighting was so intense that the UN couldn't call a bare eye. You see, until now, most wars that have broken out, the UN hadn't paid much attention to. They were too unimportant to risk world order over. But now, with Serbia's atrocities, they realized maybe they shouldn't be pulling such a blind eye. Maybe they should actually, be worried about this. And, divert resources to solving whatever problems are serving. Now, Yugoslavia had long been a subject of international hatred ever since its independence, and Joseph Stalin instating a type of socialism, instating Tito as their leader. Many Western countries longed for the days of the old Yugoslavian kingdom. This didn't go, too well, to say the least, with anyone. So, yeah, what happens next? Why the fall of Yugoslavia? Bosnia the capital of Bosnia, Sarajevo, was under siege for months by the Serbian army. And with much heartache. In fact, to this day, the scars of this siege remain, despite him. Serbia continued to fight until finally in 1994, Serbia admitted UN pressure was so strong in Serbia that Serbia realized. Next, Kosovo. Kosovo declared its independence, which restarted the Yugoslav wars. Kosovo was actually one of the most tenuous border areas in the world, besides Russia and Ukraine, obviously. It is, unfortunately, unfortunate. This is where ethnic cleansing really became a problem for Serbia. So, yeah. Also, I'm going to mention the music of the Yugoslav war era. Each country had its own different, techno-pop music. My honest favorite is Bosnia's, which just talks about being drunk and artillery. I mean, what's more epic than that? Not much, I'll tell you that. So, yeah. Anyway, on to the next subject. Next subject we're going to be talking about is keyword simplified, War of 1812. The War of 1812 has its origins in the American War of Independence. Oh, Jose, can't you see? The Americans, when they were at the Conference of Paris, desperately wanted land from Canada, but the Brits, who were determined to give them as little land as possible, said nope, and didn't give them a single piece. This, of course, didn't pass well with the U.S. government, and I think you know what happens next. It wasn't in 1811, a border dispute was sparked, and multiple raids by pro-British but anti-U.S. and the Brits began embargoing the U.S. for a organization of Quebec, an early form of the modern-day Quebec separatist, which fled to the U.S. for protection. The Brits demanded the U.S. hand over the separatists, and the U.S., being the U.S., said no, they wouldn't hand it over even if their life depended on it. So, yeah, no matter how much you say, this really contributed. They realized, oh, shoot, they're not giving this back. So, well, they decided, screw it, we're going to war. And yeah, in 1812, the U.S. government officially declared war on Great Britain. The U.S. plan for the war was simple. They'd invade Upper Canada, and to them, the Canadians wanted liberation. So naturally, they gave it to them. Turned out they didn't. The Canadians, their plan was simple. They invaded Canada themselves, and then would go north to the Atlantic provinces. Well, let's see how well that goes. First, the first invasion didn't even work. They were immediately devastated and crushed by the English. In fact, the English even advanced on the Americans. Now, I am going to recognize, because this isn't a biased opinion in any way, that the Americans were having a tough time at sea crushing the Royal Navy. Oh, and I forgot to mention one major event, the Chesapeake. The Chesapeake's capture, the British claimed that English sailors looking to escape service were on board the Chesapeake. It's actually unknown whether they were or not, but the Brits, with their assumption, ordered 3, possible deserters and pressed them into service. The Brits did this. This is actually one of many incidents where the Brits attacked an American merchant ship and pressed American men into service for the British Empire. And most of the time, they were simply saying, "I told you not to trade with France." This was certainly a part of the embargo. The Brits didn't want any goods to reach escape, reach France, or escape France. It was a similar thing to the French thing. So, yeah. What happened next? Why British people got next? The Americans, complicated like they are, ordered that the Brits pay a ransom and release their sailors. Well, see how well that went down with the British government. Not very well, I'll tell you that. Oh no, look. So, yeah, America declared war in 1812. The American invasion went very poorly. They didn't get anywhere, and the invasion was deemed a failure. But then winter came, and as if the Americans didn't learn their lesson, they attacked again. Then, said the British ambassador to the U.S. Now, the British ambassador, I don't blame him. The British ambassador was simply trying to repair relations, but I mean, really? The Americans invaded again. Now they acknowledge that Native Americans exist. Who, well, one of the main reasons that you don't see many Native Americans today is because of the War of 1812, because the Brits were, to say the least, not very kind. The Americans were not very kind after the natives massacred their population at Frenchtown. They weren't kind at all. A native warrior, Tumaskika, wanted a Native American Confederation. What caused problems in the future? So, yeah. What else happened that year? Well, the rest of the war was comprised of the Americans attempting to invade, the British attempting to invade, the Americans getting wrecked at the sea afterwards, after some initial victories in 1812, which I already acknowledged, and eventually the Brits went to Washington and burned down the White House. So yeah, enjoy the gameplay footage. Pull back. No, dies. No, I'm not reloaded. Oh, Hey, let me get a kill. Alright, let me kill the zula. Aha, I killed him. We have 5 full HP. Old men!
There's 40 shillings on the drum for those who'll volunteer to come.
Oh, that was cool.
Today, over the hills,
So, oh my god. Zulas, you will not swarm this good man. You will not swarm, what's his username? Nice. That's a coincidence. His name's Nice. Protect the flag. Oh, no. Gamer Bob. Oh, Gamer Bob. Protect Gamer Bob. No. Come on, men. For Britain. For the British Empire. For England. Serve. This is on your contract. Oi, don't remember your contract. Oh no, looks like our footage is coming to a close soon. Oh, bye guys.